Okay, we got another Patreon request here. It is The Boys Season 3 from Ty the Phoenix. He requested this. This is pretty much his long couple month request, and I finally finished Season 3 of The Boys. And on this episode movie breakdowns, we're gonna talk about it. What's up, world? Welcome to another episode of movie breakdowns. I'm your host, Ali Zakka. And before I get started, if there's a review you want me to do, let me know. Please put in the comment section below and I get to it as best I can. Also Patreon/Ali Zakka for $2 a month. Get the cut in front of everybody, get your review out way before it comes out on Facebook and YouTube. You also get other content on there like trade reaction, trade reviews, much stuff on there before it comes out on YouTube as well. Now, let's get into today's episode of Season 3 of The Boys. Now, this is going to be a spoiler review because Season 3 came out this year in 2022. So if you haven't seen Season 3 of The Boys, go watch it and come back. I'm about to spoil some stuff. If you have seen it, stick around. Come on, talk about it. So, Season 1 was about revenge. Season 2 was about secrets and things coming to light. Season 3 is about the past. So after everything came to light, they're kind of going back into the past to figure out, where this person came from, how the origin get this. Also, it's about acceptance and being who you are and being your true self. In this season, you finally got Starlight, who's like, screw Vi, I'm not doing this. You had Kimiko, who finally comes out of her shell and finally like, I am who I am. It is what it is. And then you have Homelander, who is probably one of the most terrifying characters on TV, just because of the fact that nobody could really touch him and nobody could really hurt the guy. Like, he finally, the chains that have been on him this whole season, the first 2 seasons, finally have been broken by Homelander himself, and he's realizing there's an audience for him. Regardless of good or bad or indifference, there's an audience for him, and people like the stuff he's saying. Homelander is pretty much calling himself God amongst men as he's been doing that, but now he's no longer like keeping it to himself and playing this facade, or this portrait of what people want him to believe. Want him to be what Vi wants him to be. He's now doing what he wants. He's now in control of Vi, and he's now the psychopath in charge. Yes, I'm going there. Homelander is a crazy dude who's killing whoever he wants, who's doing whatever he wants, and getting away wherever he wants. And then you flip over to Billy Butcher's side, who is going more and more into darkness to find a way to beat Homelander. Like, he doesn't like superheroes. He's pretty much racist against supers. And he becomes a super to try to beat Homelander. He becomes a super to face other supers to figure out how to find Soldier Boy, who could be the one man who can kill Homelander. And then when he finally does find Soldier Boy, he teams up with Soldier Boy to try to take out Homelander, which is a pretty cool fight scenes in this show. And then you have Homelander versus Maeve, and Soldier Boy versus Billy Butcher at the end of Season 3, which we'll get into that as well. But it's crazy how the acceptance story for Homelander grew to this part, and then Billy Butcher keep diving solely into what he is. And Huey, who wants to be like, I want to be the one in charge now, I want to be one on top, I want to be the one who saves everybody, no longer being the damsel in distress, I want to be the rescuer. He decided to take Tip V as well, and he gets superpowers, and it's kind of cool seeing Huey and Butcher have powers. I forgot Butcher's name for a moment, but have powers for this season. I almost wanted them to have more, but the more you take of that V, the Tip V, it kills you, so they stop taking it. But it would have been cool to see them actually have permanent powers and see how Huey and Butcher handles it. I feel like Butcher would become more and more of a jerk. I feel like he would just go downhill, versus Huey would try to do it for good like Starlight. But then again, he was also selfish at times too, so who knows. Also, you have Mother's Milk, who deals with his issue. Mother's Milk is finally trying to come out and take out the man who kills his grandfather, that causes his whole tics and causes his OCD, is no other than Soldier Boy. And when Mother Milk meets Soldier Boy's like, who are you? Like, Common just doesn't recognize him. It's kind of like Bison said in the Street Fighter movie. He was like, for you, the day Bison graced your village is the most important day of your life. But for me, it was Tuesday. Like, that pretty much happened with Soldier Boy and Mother's Milk. There's also a bunch of cool spots in this season. It's 8 episodes, and one of the first spots that stick out to me is Homelander going off on the audience. So it could be his birthday, and something goes sideways where audience members said like, "Hey, go date your Nazi," or "What happened to your Nazi?" He's talking about Stormfront, who was revealed as a Nazi in season 2, and she kills herself at the beginning of season 3. Homelander loses it at his birthday event and start telling the world what he thinks, and therefore it went skyrocketed up, and his ego just got bigger and bigger, but also at the same time he's slowly losing it. But throughout the season there was certain things that I hint to, like you watched the not Amazing Spider-Man, but the Spider-Man 1. Spider-Man 1 with Green Goblin, William Dafoe, and Tobey Maguire. There's a scene where William Dafoe is talking to a mirror and talking back to himself, talking back to the mirror, talking back to himself, and flipping back and forth. That Green Goblin scene happens. It legit happens in this show. I was sitting here like, Homelander looks into the mirror and he's like, his cocky arrogance starts talking back to him. I was like, is this Green Goblin? Are they really pulling a William Dafoe Green Goblin in this movie, in this TV show? And they did. They 100% did. I'm here for it. I am here for it. Another thing that hits me is the tragic story of Black Noir. Black Noir, the first 2 seasons, I was like, I could care less about him. He was there. But in this season, you learn more about him and learn about his past and learn how he deals with issues in life. And he has these cartoon characters in his brain, that his imaginary friends, who kind of help him get through stuff and help him relive life events or kind of talk to. And in this season, he dies, and it's probably one of the most tragic deaths ever. 'Cause like his brain is messed up, and then he can't speak thanks to Soldier Boy, and it's a very tragic death. Like I don't know, for some reason, his death hit me harder than any other character in this show and any other character in Game of Thrones. I think the cartoon character, the imaginary friend, of this dude who can't speak, and he goes into his brain to handle stuff and use imaginary friends to handle his trauma. And at the end of his lifespan, they visit him one last time, and it was probably one of the most, like, I don't know, emotional scenes I've seen written on TV. Like I was legit like, oh man, my gut, like this hits my heart. Like, oh, I don't know how I feel about this. Like, good Lord, like, ooh, it hurts. It really hurts. Like his issues. And I'm going to talk more about these characters and their storylines as I get into the character part of the review. But the gist of the season is really good about the past and them learning about Soldier Boy and then using Soldier Boy to fight Homelander and try to take down Vought. And Starlight finally coming out and says she's not a part of Vought anymore and like said, screw it all, and I'm going about my ways and I'm doing this, no longer part of Vought. I'm no longer gonna be this superhero, this fake phony superhero that you guys want me to be. I'm gonna be who I want to be. Like their storyline, Mother's Milk storyline, there's a bunch of good stuff, and really it's about the past coming to the light as well and trying to take down Homelander. That's what it comes down to. Billy Butcher versus Homelander is what this season comes down to, and it was a good season. I had a good time. 8 episodes, and I will say the only thing that really bothered me in this season is that it didn't seem like there wasn't a rush for me to finish season 3. Like when I got done with episode 1 and 2, and I got done with episode 1 and 2, episode 3 and 4, I was like, okay, I'll watch, but I would get to it. So I would watch halfway through episode 1 or episode 3 and then put it down and come back and watch halfway through episode 4, put it down and come back. Matter of fact, I think I binged episode 5 and 6, put it down, watch part of episode 7, and then finally finished. I binged episode 5, 6, and 7, and then finally finished episode 8 a few days later. So like, there wasn't a rush for me to finish this season. And I think maybe because the shows are like an hour to an hour 10 minutes long. Now I think that's probably part of it versus just having the show been 30 minutes. I think you might get more in and more story movement versus having an hour long and there's talking points that you have to get out, but it's just like I really don't care about this part, or stuff with Frenchie and Frenchie's like past coming back to haunt him. You're just like, okay, sure. She's important because she helped find Soldier Boy, but at the same time, sure. I don't know. I feel like there's something with the pacing of this season. Just didn't force me to. I can't wait to watch the next episode. It was just like, I'll get there when I get there. Like, it wasn't bad. It was just like, I'll just get there when I get there. But when the moments of the show that happened, I was like, yes, let's go. I got super involved in it. It's like, okay, I'm invested. But then there's parts of the show, episodes where I'm just like, we'll get there when we get there. We'll get there when we get there. All right, so that's my thoughts. Let's go ahead and get into the cast. 'Cause I feel like with this season, you almost have to talk about each individual character to really discuss their story and what they're going through in this. So let's go ahead and pull up the details. Season 3 came out in 2022. Yeah, 8 episodes. The creator of the show and the creator of the book, I should say, or the creator is Eric Kripke. I'm probably saying the name wrong every episode. Eric Kripke. And the stars and the cast, we have Carl Urban, who played Billy Butcher. So Billy Butcher, which again, everybody, all the acting in this show is great. I keep on calling it a movie, but it's not. It's great. But Billy Butcher, who played by Carl Urban, great. Like, he is still locked on that mission of fighting and killing Homelander. And it gets to the point where at the end of season 3, Homelander gets his son, which I'm not sure if he knew getting his son would like stop Soldier Boy and Billy Butcher, which it didn't stop Soldier Boy. It actually stopped Butcher from letting Soldier Boy kill the son and kill Homelander, which involved Butcher to fight Homelander, and not Homelander, but fight Soldier Boy. And there was a moment where Homelander and Butcher both use their laser vision, because that's what the power that Butcher gets is laser vision, super strength, and laser vision and super strength. And they both team up for a moment and do their like laser eyes on Soldier Boy. And there's a half a second where they kind of like teamed up, and you're like, okay, what's going on here? They're working together. But then at that moment of like a tag team shortly ends because Maeve starts fighting Homelander, and they go back and forth, and they go at it for a while. But Butcher and his story of him being like, I'm hell-bent on killing Homelander. I don't care about anything else. I'm trying to bring down Homelander, trying to bring down Bot. Everybody else can like suck it. I don't care. And there's a moment where he gets put back into his past, and he gets to relive his brother take his life, and he keeps seeing his brother in Huey, and there's a moment where he's like, Huey, you're just like Lenny, and knocks out Huey to prevent Huey from going to the final fight. And I would say with that, like, Butcher still has a heart. Like, no matter what's happened to him, he still has a heart. He even pushed away his wife's son because he didn't want to get him involved in everything, because Butcher knows that like where he's going is a dark path, and he's still hell-bent. So as far as his character development goes in this season, besides that one moment where he realized like, I'm hurting everybody else around with me, I cannot keep dragging everybody else in, he's still the same mindset as season 1. Jack Quaid, who plays Huey, great job, great acting. Huey in this season finally tried to become the one to step more out of his shell. He finally felt like he's in control. Finally felt like he's the hero, that he can save everybody and do things himself now. Now that he got Temp V, which is his ability, he can teleport, and he has that super strength and stuff like that. But like, he finally feels like he is in the spot where he's the one in control. He's the one taking over and doing things versus always relying on others. So this season, he's trying to find a way to not rely on everybody else so much and do things on his own and do things to save others, which put people in bad situations, because he doesn't see that like there's a role for everybody. And there's a moment in this season where he realized that like he can't go out and do stuff and try to be this hero all the time. Maybe his role is not to be that. Maybe his role to be there for others, like his father was. And he has a moment after Butcher knocks him out where he's like, maybe my arc in this season has been doing too much. Erin Moriarty, who plays Annie, who's also Starlight, great acting from her. Starlight's character, she's fed up. She's done. She want to take down Vought at the beginning of the season, and they make her co-captain with Homelander, and then Homelander flips it to make it like he's dating Starlight. Starlight like she's out of it. Plus, she has a little love interest there, but he gets killed out. He gets killed by Homelander, and she still loves Huey, but she don't want to lose Huey either. And they're still in a relationship in this season. They're fighting. They don't really break up. They just have arguments and they just stop talking to each other for a moment. But they're still together. Maybe I missed that. I mean, it's been a couple of weeks since I've seen a couple episodes. I may have missed they broke up, but I don't think they did. I think they're still together. They just separated for a moment. And she finally fed up with Vought and finally quits Vought and starts telling the truth about Vought. And she's now part of the boys at the end of season 3. Anthony Starr, who plays Homelander, Anthony Starr is freaking great. Like his facial expression, the way he looked, his mannerisms as Homelander, phenomenal. Like great acting from him. The Homelander speech where he's like going off, you're like, oh my gosh, this man about to go off hinge. And then the end of season 3, he kills a man in front of everybody, and people was like, oh. And one guy's like, yeah, because the dude threw a bottle at Homelander's son, and Homelander just snapped. And it lasered him, and then the validation from this crowd who were pretty much just blind Homelander supporters gives Homelander like the idea like they're cheering for me regardless if I kill people or not in front of them. They don't care. They're cheering for me. And then his son sees it, and his son starts smiling like, oh, that's my father, standing up to everybody, and almost like, oh no, we not only have we let the beast out, we're now letting the beast roam. And I'm curious to see what season 4 has in store for Homelander, but season 3 was his acceptance of him being, I don't give a rat's butt about anybody. I'm doing what I'm doing, kicking butt, taking names. I'm Homelander. You can't stop me. And the only person who had a chance to stop him was Soulja Boy, and that didn't go according to plan for Homelander, for Butcher. Jesse T. Usher, who played A-Train. I want to support A-Train so much, and I can't. A-Train is a trash person. He is horrible. He doesn't care about anybody but himself, which all the superheroes have been selfish people, but doesn't care about anybody but himself, and then try to pretend to be like, well, I'm down with, down with Coach, down with my heritage, down with my black history, and then he's using it as a front to try to get more black votes and everything, and more black popularity, and take back or puts it back in the light. And when he gets caught in a situation where a hero was attacking minorities and abusing minorities, it goes sideways, and he doesn't really care until his brother gets injured, and then he wants to take action because it's not relevant to you until somebody is hurt. And that's what the show does for his journey. And he finally gets back into Vought, and he's one of 7 again, and he's happy, but his brother don't want to do anything with him. He's pretty much got everything he wanted, but nobody wants to be around him. And he got a new heart so he can run fast and stuff like that again. So he's happy living life, but he lost everything to get that stuff back. And to me, it's just like, dude, when are you gonna learn your lesson? When would you realize what you're doing is not helping anybody? You're just being selfish, and he hasn't learned that lesson yet. And I'm curious to see what happens to A-Train down the line. Mother's Milk, who played by Liz Alonso. Great work for Liz, who plays Mother Milk. Good work. Mother Milk in this season, you learn more about his OCD, why he's the way he is, what happened to him to make him become this way, and because he has this thing against Soulja Boy for killing his grandfather, and he wants to get revenge on Soulja Boy. So pretty much what Butcher's doing with Homelander, Mother Milk's doing with Soulja Boy. And the thing is, Mother Milk's not willing to sacrifice himself, not willing to become a superhero, not willing to do all these things to take out Soulja Boy. He's not willing to stoop low. He's willing to try to do things like handle it himself, which will always put him in trouble a lot. He was like, I'm the one who keeps stuff together, so how come when I try to lose my stuff, everybody else wants to stop me? And he tries that in his season, and Butcher's like, because you'll kill yourself. Like, calm down, man. But it's kind of neat to learn about the ticks and learn about why he do things, because when he didn't do stuff, he was always afraid Soldier Boy would come back and kill his family. So this was his way to keep himself calm and collected. I liked Mother's Milk, and the hero gasm scene for him, I just felt bad for him. Horrible dude, horrible. Nathan Mitchell, who played Black Noir, silent character, didn't really say anything, but his mannerisms worked so well. Like, Nathan Mitchell this season as Black Noir was great. I freaking love it. And then his storyline was just tragic, man. That's gonna sit with me. Like the imaginary characters, like as he's dying and he sees them, just that's a tough one. Tomer Capone, who played Frenchie. Good work from Frenchie by Tomer. Pretty much with him in this season, he is with Kimiko and they're trying to escape and trying to get out, but they get pulled back in, and they're doing their own little things here and there, and they finally get captured, and they just kind of handle their own side mission. It's okay. It's not really much of a story, but it's okay for him. Karen Fukuhara, who plays Kimiko, great work. She still can't speak, but there's episodes where she starts saying, or she thinks she can speak and want to sing because she loves music. And Kimiko's arc of her just like, she's a normal person like everybody else. She's not like a monster who doesn't care about people. Like, she just a normal human being, and she wants to have a normal life. And when she finally loses her powers at one point, she thought she'd be able to have that, but she realized not having her powers, she can't save people that she loves and her family. And the boys are her new family. So she gets her powers back, but she has a scene where it turns out musical. It legit turns out freaking musical. The lighting, the directing, of the show, the camera angles, everything changes into like a musical for a moment where she's singing because she thought she had her voice back. So she's singing and she's doing all these things, and the lighting of the show changes. It was like a little comedy bit there, until it goes back to like reality where she's not healed, she's not dancing around, she is still mute, can't say anything, but she's happy with who she is. And I love Kimiko's acceptance. Kimiko's arc in this season was great. Next, we got Chase Crawford, who plays Kevin, who is the Deep. Dude's a piece of crap as well. He hasn't learned his lesson. He still think he's the hot stuff. He still think he's the best thing on earth, and think he's Homelander's best friend. He's going around sleeping with Octopus and getting bossed around by this girl who was like his PR agent, who will be his wife, and she's like bossing around, and he's like, no, I'm doing this, and she's like, you're stupid, Kevin. And he's like, I don't know, I'm doing this what I'm doing. I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. I got this. I am who I am. I'm the Deep. And he finally gets back into the 7 because Homelander needs him back in to say, oh, we got friends back in. He didn't want to add anybody from this reality TV show, so he picked the Deep back in. And yeah, he's still the same guy. Hasn't learned one single thing. He's selfish just like everybody else. And then Dominique McElligott, who plays Maggie, who is Maeve. I freaking love Maeve. Dominique McElligott plays Maeve really good, but I love Maeve. Like, the hero, she is what Starlight could have been. Starlight just said, I don't care, I'm giving up. And she is slowly like her hope that she had, she lost it all when she was part of the 7, and she's kind of gaining it back and kind of like growing in this season and saying like, I'm not putting up with this, I'm not doing this as well. Like, I love Maeve in this season, and the fact that like Starlight's like, you don't care about anybody but yourself, and she's like, so Homelander has to go down because she want to bring down Homelander, and she goes off and attacks. At the end of the season, she actually saves everybody. Like, she wouldn't sacrifice herself to stop Soldier Boy from killing everybody. And he's like, oh, so you do have heart, you do care. You are a hero at one point, or still are a hero. You're just not somebody who's doing this for your selfish reasons. But she really just want to be free of Homelander, free of the torment and everything that Homelander put her through. And Maeve's story is tragic, of her going through, alcoholism, going back through everything, and getting cleared up, and then messing with Butcher, which I didn't understand why they had her and Butcher hook up. To me, it was like out of nowhere. It was just like, sure, why not? We have a hatred for one guy. Your enemy is my enemy. That you're the enemy of my enemy. You're my friend, kind of thing. And I was like, well, why not just have a sex scene? I was like, what's the point of the sex scene in this season? Like, well, Maeve and Butcher did not need to hook up. So what's the point of that? Like, Maybe there's something there. Who knows? But to me, it was almost unnecessary to have in this season. I still don't know why it's there. And then last but not least, oh, sorry, got a few more people here. We have Claudia Dumont, who played Victoria. Thought she was good. She gonna play a bigger role. She's like now the vice president, right for vice president. She was the head of like this agency that was trying to take down super who were doing bad stuff. So she is pretty much was a big focal point in the beginning of season 3. She was the person who blown up people's head in the end of season 2 and season 1 and in the beginning of season 1. So she's like was under VOTS at one point and kind of become like not the head of VOT, but more of like a double agent. And we'll see what happens with her down the line. Stan Agner, who's played by, I'm gonna mess his man's name up, Giancarlo Esposito. I love this guy. This dude's he's in The Mandalorian, and the dude's acting is great. His pacing and how he speaks, his speech pattern is great. I love his facial expressions. The dude is phenomenal, and I didn't get the props in season 2, but he was more in season 3 here, and he gets like taken down by Homelander, but freaking love the guy. He's not dead, so hopefully he comes back in season 4 and we'll see what happens. And last but not least, Jensen Ackles, I never said his man's last name, Ackles, who plays Soldier Boy. He's a dick. Great acting by Jason, by the way. The only thing I kept saying, I was like, oh my gosh, you're the dude from Supernatural. Like, I can't get that out of my mind. But great acting by him. He's a dick. Soldier Boy's a dick. And everybody thinks Soldier Boy is great here. In reality, no, he's a horrible dude. And he even, like, calls Homelander weak, who was like, this is my son, your grandson. Like, we're a family. We can be a family. You're a father. You're the thing I wanted my whole life. Like, Homelander just wants parents. He's a big mama and daddy's boy. But when Soldier Boy sees him, he's like, you're a weak piece of like, and they go at it. But yeah, Soldier Boy was a jerk, but Jason did a good job acting Soldier Boy, and you know, like, this dude's not be trusted, and the anxiety with that, like him and Homelander are like two dudes like you can't trust them because they're super powerful. So the weaknesses of everybody else, like, you can't stop them. Normal people can't stop these men and these guys, and so you're always on eggshells to like hopefully don't snap on the heroes and see what happens. But thought Jason did a good job. Any other thoughts? I did like it. Each episode had their own little thing. Like when it comes to lighting and directing and camera angles, like the musical part, you know, was crazy and wacky. The musical scene for I think episode 8 or episode 7, the musical scene with Kimiko, the imaginary character for Black Noir, the episode where Homelander losing it and he's looking into the mirror and he's doing the Green Goblin thing. You have the Hero Gasm episode where like you see what's going on with that. The back half of season 3 was really good. The front half was more set up and you kind of think like, okay, it's gonna go to say like we're going right out like Victoria is the villain in this season. This is who we're gonna deal with. In reality, no, it's not even her. It's still Homelander and Butcher. Pretty much their egos is what the villains are in this season, and you gotta stop them from getting out of hand. But each episode had their own little different feel to it, I would say. And I did like that. All right. Is this a season you should watch? Yes. If you're a fan of The Boy, you should watch this season. And not necessarily, I guess the one thing I would say about this season is like there's unnecessary sex scenes and this like there's a whole Hero Gasm is a giant orgy of superheroes and just like, man, a lot's going on here. Like, there's a lot of sex in this season. I'm just like, why is there so much sex? Like, Game of Thrones, like, prior season 7 and 8, it was just like a lot of sex as well. And this season, it's a lot of sex. I'm just like, too much fan service. Too much sometimes. There's such thing as too much fan service when there's advance the plot. And Maeve and Butcher was one of those scenes that did not advance the plot. And I don't know why I was there. But other than that, this is a season you should watch and grade time. I'm going to grade season 3 of The Boys. I'm going to give this season an A-. It's a 90% for me. I just don't have anything bad to say about this season. Like, besides the pacing on certain parts, but that's more of my like nitpick where I'm just like, I just couldn't binge all the episodes all the way through. But I feel like other people will be able to binge them and be perfectly fine. So to me, it's definitely a A-, a 90%. Let's see if IMDb has season 3. And I do have the episode gradings here, so I can get that. Alright, so okay, yep, so this is episode 1. Episode 1 is an 8.3. Episode 2 is an 8.6. Episode 3 is an 8.2. 8.9 for episode 4. 8.3 for episode. So episode 5 was the one with the dancing. That was 8.3. 9.6 for episode 10, or episode 7, which is Hero Gasm. Episode 8 is 8.8, and then episode 9, or sorry, episode 8, not episode 9, but episode 8, and episode 7 was 8.8. Episode 6 is Hero Gasm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, so I had it off there. And then episode 10 was an 8.2. So they probably give it around like a B plus, at 89%, because that 9.6 is going to really throw it up there. I really don't want to do the math on it, but I'm kind of curious what the math is. Because season 2, I think I gave it an A minus as well. And season 2 had more 9s. Yeah, it had more 9s of 17.7. So this is more season. IMDb, just based off the grading of these episodes, is more of a overall a B plus, an 8-9%, around about that area. And I don't think Rotten Tomatoes have anything. Let's see. Okay, so season 3 on Rotten Tomatoes gives us a 98% by the critics and 86% by the audience, which that's an A plus pretty much for the critics. Critics like, this is an A plus. This is A plus material. Hey-yah! And then the audience gives it a B. So I'm right there in the middle of them. To me, it's a 90%, an A minus. If you've seen The Boys season 3, what did you think? Please put in the comment section below. Other than that, see you guys next episode of Movie Breakdowns, and keep being awesome. Thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. I really appreciate that. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. If there's a review you want me to watch or do, let me know. Please put it in the comment section below this video. Also, you want to watch the last episode of Movie Breakdowns, it's right there. Just gotta click on it and you'll be able to watch it. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Love y'all, and keep being awesome.